They don't have glass breaking in AEW to signify that the people should scream and yell and jump up to their feet and throw the babies in the air. They hit the opening strains of Like Mussolini to keep the demo that Big Bang ratings really great. And so they got Punk out right at the top of the program to try to keep all those people wondering, we just watched this apparently highly popular sitcom, and now we're going to go, what is this? They were in New Orleans at the UNO Lakefront Arena, scene of some of my greatest triumphs.
Did you recognize it? Does it look, from a television point of view, does it look like the arena you remember?
Well, we never did TV there.
I know, but when you see it on TV,
yes,
okay.
Yeah, it's a nice place. It's probably, as I recall, seats about 8,000-ish or thereabouts. They call it the Lakefront Arena because it's on the UNO Lakefront Arena. It's right beside a big lake, and it's on the campus of the University of New Orleans. So a really creative name for it. But it's beautiful. And that's a building that Watts started running, I think, when we were there in 84, because the original building for wrestling for those many years, the Dog's House, the Downtown Municipal Auditorium in downtown New Orleans. And that was the primary location for the weekly wrestling matches from not only Mid-South, but before Mid-South when McGurk was the promoter, and then years before that, etc. It was an old building, historic. It was a double-sided type auditorium where you could open up one side, which they did usually for the matches that were weekly on Monday nights in New Orleans, and it seated about 4,000, 5,000 people. But if you opened up the other side, the curtain down the middle, there was a big stage and shit, but you could then double the size of the building. And they only opened up the whole thing once when we were there, and that was when my hair was at stake. And if they'd have just kept the half open, we'd have been fine. But they opened it up, and it didn't look too good because that was after Dog had left. Nothing was going to save it. Anyway, the Downtown Municipal Auditorium was the regular building, and in the old days, they would go over to the St. Bernard Civic Center, not named after a dog, but the actual saint. It was a St. Bernard Parish in Louisiana is right across not the causeway, but it's out east of regular New Orleans. And when the downtown auditorium wasn't available, they would go out there sometimes. That was a little building that seated 2,500 people. They didn't like to make a habit of going there. But the UNO Lakefront Arena, and I'm going to tell you why I'm going into so much detail in a minute. The Lakefront Arena was in a completely different area, whereas the downtown auditorium was obviously downtown. St. Bernard Civic Center was way out of town to the east side for the people that lived out in the suburbs. The Lakefront Arena drew a better class of people, better dressed, possibly from a more affluent part of New Orleans, because to get there, you really needed a car. The downtown auditorium, the buses, and you could walk. So the downtown building was heavily African-American, which is one of the reasons why Dog was God there. The St. Bernard Civic Center was more the Cajuns and the more lower income fucking, how should we say this nicely? Lower income people out in that part of New Orleans. And then the UNO Lakefront got a completely different crowd, including college kids and younger people. And the only time that all those people would ever meet was at the Superdome 4 times a year. So you drew different crowds. But this was the Lakefront, and they better be glad, because I guarantee, I know the Bucks weren't on this show, but some of the guys on the AEW roster, if they'd have gone to the Municipal Auditorium in downtown New Orleans, the crowd would have stolen their wallets. So thankfully, they were out in a good part of town. I know I've said in the past that CM Punk is approaching a magician. And this was the ultimate test. I'm like, what? How is this going to work? CM Punk against, what is Penthouse's new name now instead of Penthouse 0 Calorie whatever. He's Penthouse Obscure.
Obscuro.
Obscuro. He's dark. He's coming out behind a tombstone or from behind a tombstone. His manager, Alex, has turned into a Sammy Terry cosplayer. For all of the WTTV Channel 4 fans from 30, 40 years ago, you'll remember Sammy Terry.
He was so good in his role, and now I thought it was a one-night thing, and now it's been a couple months of this, and it's not going away, and it's terrible.
He's swinging a thing. Bring out your dead. Bring out your dead. So I'm figuring this is going to be a clash of styles. Can Punk do it? Because let's face it, Penthouse he's just not going to be very good at working with a worker. His gimmick is posing, it's gestures. There's no facials because of the mask. A lot of flips and things that don't make a lot of sense, but let's see what Punk can do here. And the crowd was so hot at the beginning that they could milk the dueling chants. And for some reason, Penthouse had his supporters there, but they did the shove, pie face, and then they got into the trading the chops, and at least it wasn't, we're going to see that later on, at least it wasn't Samoa Joe and Suzuki. They were chopping each other like they were trying to hit each other and knock each other down against the other's will. You know what I'm saying? And did you see Punk's body language when he's getting chopped? He's flying back all the way around with it. He's selling it. He's reacting to it. Instead of they just standing there trading on purpose. So they had a match. It made sense. There wasn't as much of the Lucha Brothers Lucha as normal, which was a definite benefit. There was one thing, and actually, I don't even need to, I'm not trying to pull experience or veteranism on CM Punk, but he should have known, and it worked out. It didn't work, and maybe he won't do this anymore. But they went to a break. When they came back from the break, the one thing I didn't like about the match, and at least he saved it and it became a teaching moment, they're both fighting on the turnbuckles, and then both of them stand up together on the top rope. And I've said this a million times. I don't care who you are, how good you are, how you do it. It doesn't matter. There is no way to suspend disbelief, and it looks ridiculous in the context of a contest when both guys stand up with both feet on the top rope, and you can't tell me that they're not cooperating. And you can't tell me that the second guy to go up to the top is not just stepping up on purpose and being pulled somehow. It doesn't work. But they tried to do it so that Punk could give a Hurricane Rana off the top rope to Penthouse, but he slipped and they both fell. And like I said, I'm not trying to pull veteranness on CM Punk. Everybody makes mistakes, and I'm not talking about the bump. I'm talking about the idea of doing it to begin with. It wasn't going to look good to begin with because it was going to look obvious cooperation, and then it fucked up, and it could have been bad. But hopefully he'll not do that anymore. Do you know how he saved this from being worse? Do you know how CM Punk, how he responded to this to save it from getting the "you fucked up" chant, which I think came out later on in the night?
I do, and let me just apologize for Swami going nuts at the UPS man in the background. I think I do. And to me, it was so good, it made me think that maybe it wasn't a flub, but CM Punk's selling of his leg.
Exactly. But it wasn't, he wasn't trying to sell to make you think it wasn't a flub. He knew it looked like a flub. It looked exactly like what it was. They both fell off the top rope. But if two green guys had done that, and then they jumped right back up and started trying to do something else, that would have given the perfect opportunity for the fans to start chanting, "You fucked up, you fucked up," because that's what they do, right? To almost anybody. Mother Teresa, you fucked up. But as soon as Punk landed, he started selling his leg, not his back like he took a bump or his head like he took, but he started selling his knee. And then the people knew, well, that was a fuck up, and now he's holding his knee, and he's keeping selling it. And he's selling it for a while. Now they're worried that their beloved CM Punk has fucked himself up, so they're not going to fucking put the boots to him by going, you fucked up while you're down there needing knee surgery. They started worrying about him instead of taking the opportunity to be wise asses. And then he kept selling the leg, even when Penthouse comes back to him. Then, boom, 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 he fights back. And by the time that he realizes, okay, we've got him out of that point where they're not going to do that, then he sets Penthouse up on the top rope and hits the quick Hurricane Rana just so he can do it, and then gives him a knee in the corner, goes for his finish, but the leg buckles. So now they're back into the match, and now the people are back into the match. If they had done anything else besides him selling like he had accidentally fucked himself up and they were worried, that would have left the opportunity open for the people to get on him and kill the thing even worse. On the spur of the moment, and then you see, because now Penthouse is confused. What are we doing? So there's a brief moment where there's a short conference where Punk gets him back on the page. And they're back into the match, and then boom, boom, boom. And then basically Punk comes back a little bit, calls for the go to sleep. Penthouse blocks it. Enziguri roll-ups back and forth. Punk comes out, hits his finish one time. Go to sleep. 1, 2, 3. It wasn't Punk's best match. I think he did all he could with the style limitations of his opponent, but it was a brilliant save on that flub, because that's the first major fuck-up he's really done on television. It was some that, if they hadn't tried to do that, the match would have been just as good and nobody would have missed it. So for people who say I never criticized Punk, there you go. What'd you think?
I really liked it. I didn't think it was a flub. I thought it was part of the story of the match for two reasons. One, Punk tells really good stories in his match, and that really became the story of the match, was the leg. And two, he worships Bret Hart like all of us smart people do. And Bret was the master of creating an injury during the match and selling it throughout the match. I really liked it. I didn't think the flub, if it was a flub, I didn't think it took away from the match because they went back to it. And if it created the knee injury story, I thought that was the best thing about the match, was Punk selling of the knee. Even when the referee was checking on him on the ground, I wasn't sure what was going. I wasn't sure if he was hurt or not.
Well,
so I liked it.
Then I won't even spoil for you how you could go back and determine for yourself that knee was not injured. But that, again, that's how good a worker Punk is and how he thinks on the fly, because we had differing opinions on whether that was a flub or not.
CM Punk has been in AEW now for a while, and he still gets these monster pops. Did you hear that crowd when he came out?
Yes. And I mean, this crowd, they were hot. They haven't had wrestling down there in a while in New Orleans.
Well, we saw what could cool them down, but they were certainly hot for CM Punk.
Well, yes. Yeah. You know, they were hot at the start. As a matter of fact, think about the range. In 2 hours, they took this from one of the hottest wrestling crowds that you'll see on television, dueling chants before the opening match had locked up. And by the end, the same crowd is doing the boo, not boo, we hate you, a heel, boo, we don't like what we're seeing and we want you to stop it. In 2 hours. Interesting. I guess we're going to have to put up with the Jericho Appreciation Society a while longer. They landed in New Orleans on a plane and come out and say that's how sports entertainers travel. So now, when you think about the psychology of this is insane. The WWE has Cody Rhodes being a babyface by saying the words belt and wrestler. And the AEW has Jericho being a heel by saying sports entertainment, that was started by the company that's now making the babyface. Do you see where I'm going with this? What the fuck?
Yeah.
So they're at the plane. They start the promo, and there's Kingston and Santana and Ortiz in a little mid-size rental car hooting at them, and they drive off, and there's 2.0 or whatever their new names are, Mac Daddy Mac, and D'Angelo, De Niro, I don't know what.
I think you're thinking of Crisscross.
There you go. Daddy Mac and Mac Daddy.
How do you know that?
I don't know. I don't even know. I watched TV once 30 years ago and it scarred me. I don't know. But they're laying behind the car as the car drives off. They were hidden laying there so they've been attacked and beaten up on the tarmac. This airplane just landed, flew in 20,000 feet over their head, flew in, landed on that tarmac, did not see that rental car there with two of their friends laying in a heap behind it. So the preposterosity is heavy in this one. And then we go to the tag team title match. And Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly against Jungle Boy and Dino Douche. Jungle Boy and Dino, of course, are the World Tag Team Champions of AEW. Has there ever been a time in any major wrestling promotion where the World Tag Team Championship was on the at least fifth best team in the company?
I don't want to say there hasn't been, because there have been some really awful teams in WWE that had the World Tag titles while there were other talented teams in the roster, so maybe, but not often.
FTR, Fish and O'Reilly themselves, Santana and Ortiz, Danielson and Moxley, for fuck's sake, at least they're stars. Darby Allin and Sting. The Gun Club is a better tag team.
The Acclaimed.
Jungle Boys can be fine. The Lizard is rotten and irredeemable, as we've noticed. But I will break a few things down here in this match, because this was what started the downhill slide to me, and then MJF brought it back, and then it was in free fall. But Fish and O'Reilly were having those great tag team matches in NXT. Fish and O'Reilly don't have a lot of pull here in this company, I'm sure, to be able to jerk a knot in anybody's tail and say, no, we're going to do things our way. It doesn't work for us, brother. But they're almost like Play-Doh. Like some of these other guys, they absorb the goodness or the badness of their opponents. They were having excellent tag team matches, and they're both excellent wrestlers, and we praised them in singles matches, and O'Reilly, and the different style he has, and the shoot kind of stuff that he incorporates. But they get in the ring with these fucking guys, or any of these indie-rific clowns, and I've about given up on Jungle Boy, because he had a lot of potential to me, but he's never going to get any better like this, and he does the same shit. But this match was a fucking mess to me. At worst, they got a little steam on Jungle Boy, or I'm sorry, on Dino at the start, so Jungle Boy could get a tag. And the Lizard gave him the worst hot tag ever. He's flat-footed, stumbling across the ring, and one of the heels tripped him. But since he's 7 feet tall, he just leaned over and tagged Jungle Boy, like slapping him in the face with a cow pie tag. Here, you take it. So then Jungle Boy does a comeback, which ends with Dino doing a backflip off the apron of the ring onto the heels on the floor, because he's got to do a backflip. And then Jungle Boy runs and does a flip over the top rope at Fish, but Fish wasn't even looking at him, sees him out of the corner of his eye, goes to try to catch him, but Jungle Boy had already jumped nowhere near Fish and dropped beside of him, and they both fell down. That was the break spot. So let's say Jungle Boy knows the break spot is me diving on Bobby Fish. Does that mean that you're supposed to just run toward the motherfucker, jump over the top rope head first, and hope when he's not even looking at you? So then after the break, Jungle Boy tags Dino, and Dino makes a comeback and does same stuff as always, and then double choke slams both of the heels, and it looked impressive as hell. And instead of double choke slam with authority and cover one, he turns around and does a backflip on one of them standing backflip to make the cover. Gets a 2 count. You know, I was going to say the Lizard ought to spend 2 years in solitary confinement with Mike Mondo and he might learn something, but poor Mondo, the price he would pay. The heels took back over, but then the baby faces did some shit. Jungle Boy and Dino did a big double team where Dino gets the sidewalk slam and Jungle Boy comes off the top with the elbow. That looked nice. Nice teamwork move. Only got a 2 count. But then after that, did you notice this, Brian? This is what was killing me. After that double team move, Dino rolls out onto the floor. They've just done an offensive move, right? He rolls out on the floor and disappears for no reason. Jungle Boy and Fish are in there doing a spot. And then O'Reilly comes in and gets on Jungle Boy and hits his suplex, and they do double teams to Jungle Boy. Luchasaurus is not even back on the apron of the ring yet, and he rolled out after doing an offensive move, but he disappears selling on the floor so that the heels can take advantage of his partner. And then, as they get on him, then he comes back in, and they get in a 4-way clusterfuck and do some kind of superplex. Kyle has a front face lock on the Lizard, but Fish superplexes somebody over the top of them, and Dino made the save by slamming O'Reilly on top of the pile. I don't know what the fuck was going on. All 4 of them were in the ring together forever in front because it was the corpse referee, Rick Knox, the worst ever in history of wrestling. They did one move after another, and then Jungle Boy beat Bobby Fish. It started out blah and got rotten, and then, so now Fish and O'Reilly have yet to win one tag team match on this television to go along with, well, Cole's won a match now. Cole beat somebody, I can't remember who. I don't think they've won anything. They get beat by these fucking 2, but then Kyle O'Reilly comes with a chair from behind and whacks the baby faces, and they jump out of the ring, but FTR's music plays, and they come down and start having a shoving match with O'Reilly and Fish. So apparently FTR get to fight the losers of that. What the fuck is going on here? Did you like any of this?
Well, let me just answer your question. You said Adam Cole beat someone recently. I think he beat Jay Lethal on TV recently.
Well, that's right. Yes.
Because everyone beat Jay Lethal on TV leading up to whatever he did
the club.
Punish wrestling at the end of this show. But I wasn't crazy about this. I'm not a fan of the Jurassic Express. And Red Dragon, you know, I'm sorry. When they come out, I look at Kyle O'Reilly. I'm like, he should be separate from Bobby Fish, separate from, because they've done it for a while, separate from Adam Cole. He should be a guy they're grooming for a top spot. But I guess maybe that's not what he wants.
These people actually think that Wheeler Yuta can be a potential world champion, but O'Reilly's just nothing to write home about.
FTR got a big pop coming out. And there is thunder in the background, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not talking about a bad WCW show. FTR got a big pop. And they've turned themselves babyface by just being the best tag team and people knowing they weren't being used right. Now they're being used right, and people are over the moon about it. So that's something to watch. Like I said last time, they're having a moment and the fans are along with them for the ride.
Well, speaking of taking a ride, let's take a ride on the MJF Express, because thankfully he saved this program. This is one of the best 5 minutes of wrestling business I've seen in a long time. And with one notable detail issue that I don't know why anybody couldn't have seen this, and it wasn't the talent in the ring's fault, but everything else, MJF is going to wrestle Captain Shawn Dean. Who Shawn Dean was in camouflage when he was introduced. He's already on AEW television, so he's already invisible. He doesn't need to be camouflaged. But single match, we know what's been going on with Wardlow. He's banned from the building, but he's trying to come in and harass and nettle and persecute MJF and etc. But from the start of this thing, just to make it different, this didn't have anything to do necessarily with the angle, but he's such a brilliant young man. Do you know who MJF stole the jacket deal from?
No, who did that?
J.J. Dillon. And I've got to say, he did it better, but only because this was television and MJF had to hurry. And Tony Schiavone almost blew it, but not quite, because he almost jumped the gun when he said, look at this idiot, he can't get the jacket off. He almost blew it, but it was there where it could be taken either way. But the deal is, if you see it in its full-fledged entirety without having the TV limitations, it's a warm-up jacket with a zipper. JJ would get the introductions. You know, the whoever his opponent was would go to the corner. He'd turn around and go to the corner, and he'd go to pull the zipper down, and it wouldn't work. And he would do the deal like this where he didn't want anybody to see it. And he would milk it longer, as I said, because there wasn't time limitations, but he would be doing what you would do if you really had a fucking zipper that wouldn't work and a bunch of people were about to laugh at you. He would yell at the referee, hey, referee, check his tights or whatever, and then he'd turn the back so the opponent couldn't see it and point at it, and he'd jerk a couple of times at the zipper, and people at ringside would start noticing, and he'd get that look on his face down at it like, God damn it. And he'd look to see if anybody was noticing. Well, him looking to see if anybody was noticing would make other people notice. And then he'd yank it a couple more times. Then the referee would come over and say, come on, let's come out, take the jacket off. And then JJ'd be like, just 1 second, just 1 second. And he'd try again. Now everybody in the building's picking up on it. People are starting to point. And now the referee's looking around the JJ's shoulder, and the opponent is starting to look. And he's kind of peeking over, and he's starting to laugh. And now when the opponent points to the jacket and asks the referee, can he not, shakes his head, right? The referee shakes his head back, and now everybody in the building knows that JJ can't get his fucking zipper down. And now, since everybody's getting on him, he's just hauling off and jerking it and fucking cussing and stomping his foot and trying to pull it. And the opponent gets a little closer and a little closer, and the referee goes over and tries to help him. And right as the guy gets close enough, JJ reaches right over the referee and punches the guy right in the fucking eye, and then immediately pulls the zipper down and throws the jacket off. It's a 4 or 5 minute deal, but for house shows. But it was fucking great. And I loved seeing it again. And MJF is looking great physically. Right? He's tan and he's in shape. He's got his shit together. And he starts kicking the shit out of old Sean. But then as soon as it starts, there's a camera in back that pops up on the screen. And the camera is running up on security guys that are laying on the floor, motionless, and one of them has no shirt on. Now, this is the detail I was talking about. If the cameraman knows to run from a place to go up there, how does he know, Brian?
I don't know how he knows.
Well, he knows if they've heard some commotion, or maybe somebody has said, hey, there's a problem back there. But here's the thing. When you run up, if nobody is checking on these people who are laying there motionless, apparently unconscious, is there a gas leak? Are we all in danger? What's happened to them? Would the camera zoom up on them and just shoot them? Or if the cameraman was the only person that saw that these guys were down, would he be just shooting it, or would he be screaming, hey, get somebody? Or wouldn't there be a person or two, like not the security, they're the ones laying there, but a doctor, a random referee, a backstage popcorn salesman, somebody already checking on them to determine that they're not fucking dead? That's the off-putting visual. If there's somebody in charge of it, somebody already has found these people and is evaluating their condition, called 911, whatever, then the cameraman can shoot it. But if the cameraman's the first one to come up, he needs to put the camera down and check and see if they're breathing first. A little thing I know, but it's the picture you're painting. There's details in the Mona Lisa. But besides that, MJF freaks out, sees this, goes back to Dean, throws him out on the floor, runs him into the barricade, exults in the fans' boos there at the railing, and Wardlow in a security shirt and a COVID mask walks up behind him and takes the shit off. And MJF, holy shit, and fucking Wardlow goes after MJF and starts wiping out a dozen security guys that are just coming and running endlessly. It looked like the clown car at the goddamn Ringling Brothers, except it's security guys coming out in a steady stream nonstop. And he wipes a bunch of them out, but finally 15 of them stop him. Just sheer numbers, and he's immobilized in this mass of humanity. But the referee is counting MJF. And MJF's run back to the stage, so he gets on the microphone and says, Bryce Remsburg, whatever Tony Khan's paying you, I'll triple it if you don't count me out. And Remsburg looks back and forth, and 10. Oh, motherfucker. And Dean wins by count out. And the people went berserk, and Wardlow is over. This is over. When you get reactions like this, and you look like that, and you're coming in and laying waste to people, and the babies are going in the air, that's fucking over. They want to see this. They want to see Wardlow get his hands on MJF. They want to see this kind of shit where he throws people away because he's a giant fucking behemoth. It was a wrestling angle. And MJF then was in the back screaming, MJF was arguing with the referee, rather, in the ring, while Wardlow was going crazy in the back screaming, I'm going to get out of this contract. This was a wrestling angle. You want to see these two get a hold of each other, or specifically Wardlow get a hold of MJF, more now than you did last week. That's a wrestling angle. What'd you think?
Oh, I loved it. This was the end of the good portion of the show, but this was the highlight of the show. Hey, to be repetitive, it's every MJF segment. We can go back now to the Pillman feud. It's every MJF segment. It's logical. Reminds me of professional wrestling because it is professional wrestling. And you said Wardlow's over. It's interesting. This is all being done the traditional way. These are young guys. They have a young flair. They had young things. I'm not that old, much older than I don't know why I'm using young so much. These are younger guys doing new things. And it's getting over in the traditional way. Wardlow seems to be much more over than their World Heavyweight Champion is. And he's getting a different kind of chant than the World Heavyweight Champion would get. I don't know. I think they've got something with Wardlow, and I think it's not just because he's a big guy and he looks, like a monster and he could do some stuff in the ring. It's also because of the way this has been built up. This has all been done, other than the early teases, which didn't make much sense.
Way back at the start, you're talking about.
Yeah, but the stuff the last several weeks,
way too early. With
Wardlow trying to get to MJF, I've really enjoyed this. It's enjoyable. I guess that's the thing. You can sit back and watch it like a fan. It's really enjoyable. And even Spears, give him credit. I thought he was good here. He didn't bother me at all, and I thought him working with MJF, it worked. It made the jacket thing work, and him being there, the facial expressions from him and MJF after Wardlow threatened them was great. Because they both know it's on. They know the guy. I really like this. This is great.
Well, but as you mentioned, this was the beginning of the end. The trios match was next, or Tony Schiavone's even saying trios now.
He'll say anything you tell him to say.
He could say 6-man tag team match. Is anybody going to fire him? But Chris Jericho, Danny Garcia, The Rock's ex-wife, and Jake Hager against Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz, with that preposterous angle with the airport at the start being the impetus behind this thing. And the whole Jericho now, the sports entertainment thing, and the whole group of jobbers so that it can be all genuflecting about him, and combined with he's supposed to be a heel, but yet he shamelessly panders for him to sing the song. And this whole mess, I was not completely very interested in the match, but Jericho basically hit Kingston with a baseball bat and Garcia pinned him. But then they do an afterbirth. Of course they have to, because it's AEW and every match has one.
This is more Chris Jericho than AEW. This is a Chris Jericho thing. It's happened too many times with the Chris Jericho segments.
The blame goes on Chris Jericho because of all the people doing fake, phony looking shit. Jericho's was the worst, and I don't know what's happened. But the heels after the match turn around and jump on Kingston. He's in there by himself. The other two have been dispatched. And Jericho starts, I quote, throwing, unquote, quote, punches, unquote, towards the direction of Kingston's head without even a fist clenched and nothing behind him. And there's a camera close-up so you can see this. And then here comes 2.0 or whatever their crisscross is what we'll call them now, I guess. They're in street clothes. They're getting heat. Garcia comes in with the baseball bat, and while Kingston's laying there trying to figure out what to sell or how to sell this shit, Garcia is giving Kingston rib noogies with the bat, just puts the butt of the bat in his ribs and starts turning it back and forth. He's got a baseball bat in his hands, and he's gouging the guy's ribs. And then Jericho says, oh, no, this is the way you do it, and grabs the bat and hits Kingston 3 times with the fakest looking. He's not touching him. One of them Kingston didn't even react to because he didn't see it coming and didn't feel it. Go back, I dare everybody. If you're an AEW hater, if you're an AEW fan, if you're an AEW wrestler, go back and look at the heels heat in this segment and tell me that this did not look like the fakest horse shit that you've ever seen in your life. And everybody involved should be ashamed, including Jericho, of his group's performance. And while this heat was going on where they were hitting him with shit that some of it wasn't anywhere near him, no bell, no referees, nobody trying to stop it, and the work looked phony as fuck. This was embarrassing. And that's all I got to say about that. Do you have any follow-up?
I have 2 thoughts. One, if you remember a few weeks ago, there was the angle where the Inner Circle or the whatever the Japs, whatever they are. What are they?
The Jas.
The Jas. Well, they
the
were
Jewish American Princess Society.
That's exactly who they are. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. They were looking behind curtains. They were looking all over for Kingston and them, and then Kingston and them came out and beat down Jericho and his crew finally. And then in the same angle, Jericho and his crew got their comeback and left them laying, and it went on for a while. The beatdown went on for a long time here. And it was bad, and it's ridiculous, and the people want to see Kingston do something. They don't want to just see him get his ass kicked by Jericho. And if Jericho comes out of this like the MJF feud, where he wins in the end, you know the rib was on. Secondly, did you ever see the movie Kingpin?
Yes.
The bowling movie?
Yes.
Do you remember Big Earn, the Bill Murray character, the way his hair was flopping around?
Yeah.
What the hell's going on with Jericho's hair or weave or whatever the hell it is? It looks so unnatural that I watch him now and I can't take my eyes off his hair. It's like Stan Lane's wig. I said it before with extensions. It looks so bizarre. It's all I can focus on now during these matches is that ridiculous thing on his head, whatever the fuck that is. If he did that just to be a heel, maybe, hey, listen, Jericho is the kind of guy, maybe he was drinking vodka in the hotel room, he was watching Kingpin, he goes, you know what? I'm going to have my hair look ridiculous like that. People will think I'm going bald. Maybe that was it, but that was all I could focus on.
Well, here's an observation. By the way, MJF is pissed and has signed Wardlow to fight the Butcher in the near future. It could have, at least it would, if it had been the Baker, we know he could go up for the power bomb. I'm afraid Wardlow might not be able to get the Butcher's big ass up. But,
you know,
go ahead.
Can I just say one thing? And this is going to sound nuts, and I've thought about it a few times recently. I think the Butcher is kind of not a missed opportunity, but just been misused. First of all, tying him with the Blade has dragged him down because the Blade.
And the Bunny.
Yeah. And quite frankly, I don't think people care about that. And I think they've been treated like jobbers for a long time. But the other thing is, he actually has size. He looks like he's in better shape now. It's a man who could actually use a monocle. That's a skill. That's a talent.
They got rid of the monocle, though.
They got rid of the monocle. It's the best part of his whole act. But it's a guy he looks like a wrestler. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure if you went into a store and he was there, you'd be like, that guy looks like he could be a wrestler. There could have been more to be done with him. So we'll see next week what it is. But it goes back to the roots, because originally, didn't they pop out of the ring to attack Cody Rhodes at the behest of MJF?
Yes, that's right. Well, and then he paid off whoever he paid off there, MJF.
There's been a lot of payoffs in AEW, if you really think about it.
And you see them on camera to make sure you know that they're happening. But here's the random observation I was going to make. Alex Marvez, Officer Bar Brady, is the only interviewer ever in the history of professional wrestling who can come off phony without even speaking one word. He turns and holds the microphone phony, like no human ever would. He's so uncomfortable on television. I wonder if he shits himself every time the red light comes on. He looks like he's being stood up against a fucking wall.
You know what? The other day, I forget what it was. There was some clip I wanted to see from like way back in the beginning of AEW. There was something I was looking for. And it was when Marvez was still on commentary, and I forgot about that.
I did too.
You think he's bad doing this? Go back and listen to any of that. Wow. You can remember why that was one of the first big takeaways from AEW. People forget that now. One of the first big takeaways from anyone's exposure to AEW was they got to get Marvez out of the commentary booth. So I just was reminded of that the other day.
Well, next up on this journey through hysteria, and don't worry, folks, we're going to finish strong here. Just real quick, Marina Shafir against Sky Blue. And I didn't remember ever seeing Marina Shafir really wrestle. Maybe she was in the developmental program in WWE for a while. Maybe we've seen him. I don't know. But I thought, okay, I'll see what's going on here. Nothing went on here. Shafir has a good mean face and she's got a legit background, but between the other girl being green instead of blue and the fact that apparently Shafir was told to sell nothing but also do nothing, they tried to do something and then Sky Blue tapped out, but there was nothing happened in this match really. And not in a planned way, like we're going to get more out of less, but just in like nothing happened.
Well, it was the first match Marina Shafir's had on TV. They've showed a few promo videos of her. She's been talked about. Sky Blue is obviously young, so we'll see what kind of future she has, but the people seem to like her. Marina,
I'm just saying, you would have thought she could have done like a body slam or anything. The other thing, there a lot.
You would have thought if you're gonna play up the idea that she's a mixed martial artist and she's gonna win with an MMA type maneuver, you would think they would have her do that much more quickly than they did. It went a little wild. The other thing I think that was really the story was Jade watching at the monitor, while her baddie section now includes Red Velvet and Kiera Hogan. So now she's doing better than Brandy did with heels. I mean, just have to say it. But now the baddie section, which really hasn't been defined, includes some of the wrestlers, including one who, actually, now I think about Red Velvet, was Jade Cargill's big feud early on. So I can't explain.
Wait, that's right. Wait a minute. So now if you can't beat them, join them.
I guess so.
Because now she's in the group. It's seat fillers. Maybe they're just high-priced seat fillers. Okay, here's some malpractice. We're going to talk about this for a second. Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks against Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. Okay, we have had a variety of good things to say about Hobbs, about Starks, to a lesser extent, Keith Lee. I'm waiting for Swerve to grow on me. But Starks and Hobbs are looking great. Keith Lee is nearing Vader size. He's getting bigger and slower, and it seems like Did you hear Jim Ross knock him because he was so busy milking the crowd for his chant that the match was starting and he hadn't even taken his jacket off yet? And JR's like, well, if I was Swerve, I believe I'd be concerned that my partner hasn't even taken his ring jacket off yet. He wouldn't pay any attention. So anyway, Hobbs and Keith Lee faced off one time earlier, and Keith Lee just palmed Hobbs's head and shit-canned him through the ropes. Remember that? They'd done something to Starks. Hobbs comes in. Keith Lee turns around, and there's Hobbs and Keith Lee face to face. And Lee just palms his head, shit-cans him to the floor, then grabs Starks and awkwardly shit-cans him and throws him from the wrong side anyways, turning him around the wrong side, and then tags Swerve. And the heels had to stand there on the floor for 15 full seconds by a 1001, 1002 count, while in slow motion, Swerve got up on the top rope and then jumped off and pushed off and backflipped off Keith Lee's chest onto the waiting heels who stood there watching the whole goddamn thing.
And you keep saying heels. It was Starks' hometown. He got a monster pop. They were baby faces.
Yes. Oh, and that's another thing. Yes, the heels were the popular team with all the people, and the baby faces. So here you've got two brand new baby faces just came into company. So the thing to do is put them against a heel in the heel's hometown so that they will make sure to cheer for the heel. That's what they did that was the problem with the Patriot in Nova Scotia. You idiots. He's brand new. He doesn't have enough in the bank with the people yet for them to see an arena full of people booing him on national television. So anyway, after that spot, somebody please, if you talk to Will Hobbs, tell him don't ever let people shit in his fucking face like that. I don't care if it's Keith Lee or anybody else. Just reach out and palm his head and fling him from the ring like a fucking piece of shit. I got hot. Then they go to the break. Then coming back, all the heels heat was in the break. Starks and Hobbs, I mean. When they came back, there were horrible simultaneous cold tags to Lee and Starks where the partners were just laying in their respective corners, reaching up and tagging them. And then Keith Lee sold more for Ricky Starks than he did for Hobbs through the whole thing. It was a sloppy match that made little sense. They treated Hobbs like a flunky. That's what I wrote. And then Swerve tosses Starks into the ring after he's done some kind of move. Did you catch this one? So imagine this. Hobbs is on the apron in his corner. Keith Lee's on the apron in his corner. Swerve throws Ricky Starks in the ring. Swerve gets up on the apron in the heel corner with Hobbs, 2 feet from him on the other side of the buckle, and everybody froze. Hobbs is looking like, why are you right here next to me? And fucking Swerve is looking like, why are you here? This is where I have to be to do my move. And the announcers are saying, well, is Swerve trying to lull or con Starks into coming? They didn't know. And then finally, Hobbs goes to grab at him. Swerve then, after Hobbs goes to grab at him finally, Swerve jumps down, grabs Hobbs's feet, jerks him to the floor, and then gets back up and vaults over the top rope into a spear by Ricky Starks. So the only place that this idiot could figure out how to do his fancy spot was right next to Will Hobbs, so Hobbs got shit on again and wiped out to get him out of the way so that this moron couldn't figure out how to do this from any other corner of the ring, or just don't fucking do it. Apparently, Swerve is a complete idiot. So then Starks hit a big false finish and got a 2 count, and the people popped like crazy because it's his hometown. Lee and Swerve did some more shit to Starks. Taz came out and they got in a four-way. Hobbs got posted, got run into the post and down again. They went into some finish. I can't describe what they were doing. It was all over the place. And finally, Keith Lee goes to hit the ropes in front of Taz, and Taz trips him, and he stumbles into Hobbs's spine buster. 1, 2, 3. And I didn't have time to go back and watch the whole thing again, nor the inclination. But maybe somebody can and answer me, was that the first actual bump that anybody in this match took for Powerhouse Hobbs? Was the finish that was assisted by Hobbs's manager?
And why did they act like they were confused why Taz was there? He's their manager.
Oh, well, that's another thing. Yes, they were cool. Why has Taz come down here? It's Team Taz. I didn't understand that either. But you know what my takeaway from this match was? You remember how Butch Reed, before he died, said that he saw a lot of himself, young self, in Powerhouse Hobbs, and he was a big fan of Powerhouse Hobbs?
That's right, yeah.
Okay, I've worked with Butch Reed many times. I've been in the locker room with him in the UNO Lakefront Arena, same building. If there had been a match with Butch Reed in it instead of Powerhouse Hobbs, and Butch Reed had been treated in that match like Powerhouse Hobbs was treated by these people, when they got back to the locker room, there would have been a fucking fight that they would have had to call the SWAT team about. He would have told everybody, well, he wouldn't have gone for any of it to begin with. But let's just say it had of, and he had of, and it happened that way. Every motherfucker on that other team, and probably everybody in the babyface locker room, they'd be looking like the security after Wardlow got finished with them. That was the most disrespect. And I don't even know whether these guys are smart enough to know what they did. But they laid Will Hobbs out in the ring in the middle of New Orleans and said, open your mouth and we're going to piss in it. That's exactly what they did. And Watts would have fined everybody in the match except Hobbs for burying Hobbs, and then he would find Hobbs twice as much for allowing himself to get buried without fighting back and doing something about it. So there you go.
I can't add too much to that other than from the moment they came out there, Hobbs and Starks are stars, and they're great, and they're good in the ring, getting better, at least in Hobbs' case every day. Not that Starks isn't, but he's been wrestling, I think, a little while longer.
Yeah.
I just wish they were used better. But these two guys, especially Hobbs, every time you see him, he looks like he's in a little bit better shape, not drastically better. His work gets better. The little bit of promos we've seen have been good. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with Keith Lee. I almost thought it was a double turn. It was like, okay, in my eyes, Swerve is the heel.
Just accidentally.
Yeah, Swerve and Keith Lee are the heels in this match. They're working like heels. But I don't know. I like Hobbs and Starks a lot.
Hey, again, I'll tell you what. Hobbs is the same as a lot of these guys. Hobbs needs a Heyman. Can you imagine what Heyman could do with Hobbs?
You're not talking about, for anyone listening, you're not just saying like as a mouthpiece, like a Taz. You're saying in terms of working with them behind the scenes. As a coach,
as someone to take care of him, as someone to not let people take advantage of him in these matches because he's green and he doesn't know and maybe he's too nice a guy. And either these other guys are so stupid that they don't know how to work with a guy like that to make sure that he doesn't look like a piece of shit, or they just don't care. That he needs somebody looking out for him. Maybe they ought to give him his own producer and make him because he's certainly deserving of being a project for a future superstardom. They're just going to dick around and not teach him how to take care of himself, and he's not going to get over, and other people are going to get over at his expense. This was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I'm not saying, and somebody's going to say, but he pinned the guy. Fucking hell. That's the problem, is that's how deep some of these modern wrestlers and bookers and or promoters think about the fucking business. He looked like shit and was pie-faced, put down, head palmed, shit canned, and otherwise made to look like the fourth wheel in this thing through the entire match. And it wasn't even a situation where Oh, we can get some on him because he's getting the pin in the end. No, you have to make him look like a physical threat. When Keith Lee and Powerhouse Hobbs faced off, and Keith Lee just reached out and grabbed him by one hand and threw him out of the ring, it was over. You just pulled the goddamn curtain back and you see that the Wizard of Oz is a little old man from Kansas.
So when you said at the top that there was malpractice, that's the malpractice.
Yes, that's it. I got hot for Hobbs because I think he really could do something, but there's no place to teach these guys anymore. Hobbs, read Mike Mondo's Twitter account. You'll learn more than working with these fucking assholes that are burying you. You know what we hadn't seen on this show so far, Brian?
What's that?
A fight backstage amongst the girls. Now with cake. So Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero have a cake for Thunder Rosa. And of course, everybody thinks that it's going to go in Thunder Rosa's face. And Thunder Rosa says, "Do you think I'm an idiot?" And she puts her hand under the cake and puts it in Nyla's face. And then Nyla's blinded by the fucking cake. So she swings at Thunder Rosa, but hits Vicky instead. Thank God she didn't really hit her. And you could tell she didn't really hit her. Elsewise, it probably killed Vicky. And then Thunder Rosa and Nyla have a girls' fight backstage with furniture, now with cake. So the only way that this show could get any worse would be to bring out the main event right now, which is, again, Samoa Joe. These guys have no luck. They're either in a place, Samoa Joe, Jay Lethal, FTR, they're either in a place where people that they work for don't respect them and they can't get on TV, or the company is not big enough and high profile enough and nobody knows how great they are, and they finally get on national TV, and some way or another, those that are most deserving get the biggest plate of shit. Samoa Joe's first Ring of Honor TV championship defense on national television is against Japanese Grandpa Minoru Suzuki. A few 100,000 people on the planet called this a dream match. Every other wrestling fan that's ever existed called this an embarrassing fucking joke. It's over. Hey, if I was a baseball fan, I'd like to see Babe Ruth play baseball, but not when he was 73 years old. I was a fan of Muhammad Ali. And I watched my Kentucky compatriot, hometown hero, all the way through his career until finally it wasn't pretty to see the Larry Holmes situation. Everybody gets old. I know Minoru Suzuki is a real shooter. I know he's an MMA legend. I know he's a big name in Japan. He's in his early 50s. He visually looks like a decrepit delivery boy. His shit looks phony except for the chops that he really hits guys with that are standing there letting him do it. And he sells nothing because he can't even snap his neck or turn his head. He's like literally like a fucking Mr. Potato Head with the little short arms and legs that don't bend. And do you think at some point that and especially no knee pads, little short shooter boots to expose those bird legs, he looks like he's going to break? I know he can really whip everybody, but it's a ridiculous visual and his work looks like shit. Tell me I'm wrong, Brian.
I think the visual works if you're someone who is exposed to him already and you enjoy him, even if he is older. It's, I think, different if you're someone who maybe just watched wrestling in America on TV and doesn't know New Japan talent who hasn't appeared.
If you've just watched TV wrestling for the last 30 years and don't know who this fucking guy is.
I've liked his work in the past. There's a Tokyo Dome match with Sakuraba a few years back that was fantastic. But every time he's appeared on AEW, he's looked smaller than he ever looked in New Japan to me. And he's not working, at least in my eyes, he's not working the same way he did a few years ago. And, you know, I saw the Samoa Joe Kenta Kobashi match where they just chopped each other. And for that room, it really worked and it was amazing. This was kind of another take at that, it felt like, for at least half the match.
But at least Kobashi was what, in his 30s at that point? Maybe 40?
Yeah. Physically, he was getting ready to wrap it up, but yeah. Maybe 40.
They started with the chops and the forearms, where it wasn't like Punk and Penthouse, where they're just standing there hitting each other on purpose and allowing the other one to hit them in return, and it's stupid. And I love Samoa Joe, and I love his win. I've been dying for somebody to give him a job and put him on television for the past 5 fucking years or whatever. I had to fast forward through the end of the chops. I'm just going to fast forward until somebody leaves their feet. And I did. It was Joe gave Suzuki a nice shoulder tackle. He took a bump, and immediately they went to the break. Okay, all right, I'll fast forward through the break. Come back from the break, Joe is trying for a crossface, but Suzuki can't bend his neck or his back, so he couldn't get it. And then they did some slow, sloppy stuff, and then they started chopping again. Suzuki said, one more time, and they start chopping. I'm like, motherfucker. Joe is so talented, and he can do the MMA style. He can move around like a big fucking Greyhound bus in the air. He can promo. He has a badass aura. The last thing you want is for some elderly, decrepit Japanese grandfather to be taking everything that Joe can dish out and smiling. That's counterproductive to anybody except the crowd they already have, which they're never going to add to with horse shit like this on television. So then Suzuki couldn't get the Gotch pile driver because he couldn't reach around Samoa Joe because his arms are 1.5 feet long. I'm surprised he can wipe his own ass. And then Joe hit the muscle buster 1, 2, 3. And I wrote, thank Gotch, that's over. But it wasn't over. At least the Suzuki part was. But now I'm about to wish for more Suzuki. Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt, a long-time, close personal bond that began on TV 7 days ago between these two guys. They're friends in real life, but for this television universe, they joined up 7 days ago. They have said that they'd had a gift ready for Samoa Joe, and they're there at ringside with a nice little gift-wrapped box, and I'm thinking, well, that nobody can come out of that box. It's not even bigger than a bread box. But they pulled a variation on the old dick in the box routine with the finger in the box. They pull the top off the box, and it's Jay Lethal's finger. And then the lights go out, and the whole place is dark, and the announcer go, well, something's happening, and the lights stay out forever because apparently the new member of the roster took a while to get in his spot. So I saw how he's moves slicker and quicker than lightning elsewise, so I'm surprised they got him in there without calling AAA. But when the lights come back on, there's a giant in the ring. Brian, did this guy facially look like if the pinhead from Freaks was a giant from India?
Oh, come on.
And had bigger sideburns. So there's the giant in the ring, and Joe turns around, and then here comes the Sanjay and Lethal, and the heels attack, and Tony Schiavone, of all people, they give him the duty to explain who this guy is. I know this guy. And apparently the story is Tony knows him because he's been to the workout sessions at the AEW training facility that previously we've been told was run by QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes, the Nightmare Factory, but now it's just the AEW training facility, and Sanjay Dutt's doing the working out. And this guy's name is Satnam Singh. And he's I
don't think that's how you pronounce his name.
Well, I don't care, because I don't think he's going to be. He needs to be singed. Somebody needs to light a fire under his ass. But he's apparently a flunk out. We've got Giant Gonzalez all over again. A flunk out in the NBA that never could make the team because he's 7 feet whatever, and look at him. So he couldn't play basketball, and it's the same thing. Maybe a nice guy just like Jorge was. But I don't know if he's going to be as good as Giant Gonzalez was in the ring. So anyway, Satnam Singh and his 2 cohorts get some of the most horrible alleged heat. It made Jericho's business look good. And the people, as soon as they saw this guy and as soon as they realized that he was immobile and couldn't do anything, they started scoff booing. You know, it's like when somebody laughs at something that's funny, you can tell they're laughing, they're really entertained, but when they're laughing at something that's stupid or silly, or when they're scoff laughing. Well, this was scoff booing. They weren't booing that their favorite Samoa Joe was getting beaten up by bad guys. They were booing like, this sucks, this is ridiculous. What, we paid for this? What the fuck are you doing?
They were booing like when the Dark Order attacked the Young Bucks at the end of that episode. And
yes.
That's the kind of boo it was.
Scoff booing. And Satnam Singh's big move to cripple Samoa Joe was a double head claw. It was like, I'm squeezing your head. They just did it with fucking he's a head. All these giants are head squeezers. And Joe couldn't figure out how to sell any of this. And then the other guys are trying to kick him and punch him to do some kind of damage, but because the giant has him held there and he can't take a bump, he can't sell their shit either. So now Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt are the captors or maintenance men or, keepers of this flunked out basketball player that Tony Khan thinks is going to make them superstars in India. And that apparently is the story behind this. He said this. Tony Khan has said, we're going to get this guy is going to be a huge in India, and Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt, who they already know over in India, well, they're just going to be our featured people in India. Fuck me. So the poor Americans that are giving you your ratings and most of your ticket money are going to have to sit there and watch this fucking clown, this goddamn human dirigible, because you want to potentially get people in India. And they love the great Khali in India. I will admit that, because apparently the Indian people, if any of their people do anything good, no matter how, I don't mean anything good, well, I mean do anything noteworthy, no matter how rotten they are at it, they become God. You've seen the articles where the great Khali, those people, bless them, not only they're the last country in the world that still thinks the business is real, but they think that great Khali was a great pro wrestler, because they don't know what the fuck's going on over there with anything else anyway, right? So we get what we wanted. We want Jay Lethal, an amazing talent, to be pushed. He's going to be pushed with the world's worst wrestler in his group, and poor Sanjay having to try to take up the slack. What was your impression of Satnam Singh?
You know what I feel about the lights going out and the surprise in the ring? It happens too often. Is the same guy that helped Sanjay and Jay Lethal the same guy that helps the House of Black? Are there different people that have control of the light switch? We need some, it's about time wrestling
clarity.
Answers these questions.
We need clarity. And also, did that guy infiltrate WWE Raw on Monday night in order to screw up the finish of the AJ Styles and fucking hoo-ha match, Damian Priest?
I'll give Tony credit. Just when I thought, man, there's no way to make me appreciate Almost, they find another giant that made me realize, wow, Almost is like the Ric Flair of giants. He can work, he can do promos. This guy's great.
And
everyone wants a giant. As soon as they see someone who's 7 feet tall, they go for him. There are very few that have actually worked. And although the Big Show was never used right, he worked. He worked in WCW.
And he learned how to work.
Yeah. I don't know who this guy is.
OVW did a lot for him too, come to think of it.
The other big issue you know what part of the booing is? It's not even about who's this guy or what is this. It's about we don't want to see Samoa Joe used like this. He just got here.
Yeah.
We don't want Samoa Joe tied to this. We'll deal with Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt tied to this. But we just got Samoa Joe. We don't want him having to deal with this.
It's like this girl decides to finally go ahead and give you the whole blowjob, right? And then you find out that she's got dentures and the front teeth are sharp. You get something you want, and then the enjoyment is taken away from you.
Yeah, I guess that's a way to look at it.
Yeah.
I had another point, but now I have no idea what I was going to say because
there was this one girl in Dayton, Ohio. She had dentures, but she would take them out first, and I recommend that.
All right. Well, you aren't a dentist. Let me remind everyone out there, so maybe they shouldn't listen to your advice on oral hygiene or oral health.
Anything oral for that matter.
Anything oral. Don't listen to Jim Cornette. Anything he says, just ignore when it comes to any of these things. But back to Samoa Joe. We just saw him, and now he's going to be tied to this. And what I was going to say before is I don't think you said enough about how bad the claw, do you call it a claw? The head squeeze.
No, the head squeeze.
It looked so ridiculous. This was, you know what this reminded me of, just because the guy didn't seem like he knew what he was doing? It was more the Yeti's debut where he just hugged Hogan.
Yes.
He just grabbed Samoa Joe's head and just held on to it. And it looked horrible. It looked so stupid. And you came out of this really feeling bad about the way they're using Samoa Joe, and then you felt mad about the way they were using Samoa Joe.
And the Giant, if he had any kind of facial expression or anything, but you could just tell, you could see it on him. I don't know what am I doing here? What is happening around me?
I want the belt.
Not even that. Just complete confusion and total lost ball in high weeds. So, and by the overrun. Tony Khan goes on Twitter, goes on the internet, makes the big announcement. Folks, they've told us we're going to have as much time for this dream match, title match, as we need. If we have to overrun, and everybody's tweeting, set your DVRs. We don't want to miss this. Something big's going to happen. You know how long the overrun was?
Was it 2 minutes?
2 minutes. Because I recorded the program that came after AEW to make sure I got the overrun, but AEW was listed in the DVR as from 8 p.m. to 10:02 p.m. And the Giant and poor Sanjay and Lethal were standing there when my DVR froze. It didn't even go to the next program yet. So the overrun was like 90 seconds. And that's...
I had so many people say, make sure you set your DVR.
Yeah, didn't need to. I wish I hadn't set the DVR for the program I saw. Except for MJF, I could have caught that on. They could have played the whole MJF segment on Twitter, and really we could have saved this week. But nevertheless,
do you think the attitude with this Giant is? I'm being serious here. I don't mind saying I agree with it, but do you think the attitude is, well, we rushed Jade to TV, and she's a star, and now people actually, I think she actually does move the ratings in a good way. She may not be very good in the ring yet, but she's at least got some promo skills. Do you think that's the attitude? Hey, no, we can make him a star, just rush him on TV?
No, I think they know and are, and I bet they probably can, because I just said, they'll accept apparently anything in India, because Kali was over. So they're going to stink up whatever portion of the television program that airs in North America that this guy is on, United States, Canada, English-speaking countries around the world, specifically to try to get over in India with this clown. And good luck with that. That's all I've got to say, because here's the thing. If you get over in India, then how are you going to take advantage of it? You got to go to India. You think William Regal's going to go back to India? That's where he almost died. He got so sick he never actually recovered. That nearly killed him and kept him out for however long. This is the WWE. This was a company that was well-versed and experienced in traveling to every country in the world, and they went over to India, and everybody got sick as a fucking dog, and Regal almost died.
But Tony Khan is very rich, and from what I understand, he's been talking with the Universal Heartthrob Austin Idol about bringing him over, having him set up water filtration systems all over. so that they'll be okay on their tour. He's a very, very smart guy.
Oh, Idol, he made a fortune on those water filters. All right, are we done? What are we doing next? I haven't been blown off the face of the earth